Walk into any tire shop. Ask for all terrains for your F-150, $153 a tire. Now walk 20 feet down the same aisle. Same brand, same size, same warehouse, same truck bed for the delivery, same rubber compound suppliers. The only thing different is one word on the sidewall: mud. That word costs $26. Multiply it by 4 tires. That's $100. For a label most owners will justify with maybe 2 real mud runs a year. And the tire company knows it. They're not selling you a tougher tire. They're selling you a tougher looking one. So we ran the test they'd rather nobody ran. Same F-150, same engine, same driver, 1 full year. All terrain on one set, mud terrain on the next. Nothing changed but the rubber touching the pavement. The tire that looked meaner didn't win. And once you see why, the $100 upsell starts to look like something else entirely. Here's what a year on the same truck actually proved. Number 1, the real question. Every tire argument turns into the same noise. All terrain is sensible, mud terrain is serious. Bigger tread means more traction. It sounds logical until the truck leaves the trail and spends the next 100 miles on pavement. Nobody selling you the mud terrain mentions that part. A more aggressive tire is not automatically a guarantee of more traction. All terrain is built around balance. Mud terrain is built around one priority: maximum traction in extreme loose terrain. An F-150 rarely does one thing: tows Monday, commutes Tuesday, gravel Wednesday, mud on Saturday. So the real question isn't which tire wins the most extreme moment, it's which tire gives up the least everywhere else, and which one you're paying $26 extra a tire for, whether you need it or not. The truck stayed the constant for this comparison. Same F-150, same basic tire size, same driver, tire pressure checked throughout, pulled straight off the driver's side door jamb label, not a number guessed off a shelf sticker. Get that detail wrong and you're not comparing tires anymore. You're comparing 2 trucks set up incorrectly. Number 2, what actually separates them. The all-terrain's tread is a compromise. Enough void for gravel, dirt, light mud, and snow without giving up pavement manners. Full-depth sipes cut into the tread blocks, add biting edges for wet and light snow grip, and a denser overall pattern keeps more rubber in contact with the road, which is also why all-terrains typically outlast mud terrains on tread life. Wear evens out across a tighter tread instead of chewing through a handful of massive blocks. The mud terrain throws that balance away. Larger blocks, larger voids, aggressive shoulders, heavier sidewall reinforcement built for rock contact and aired-down driving. Where an all-terrain might run something like 1/4 to 1/3 of its tread surface as open void, a mud terrain pushes that number noticeably higher. More open space to bite into loose ground, less rubber left on the road to carry the truck quietly and evenly. That trade runs in one direction only: gain in the dirt, give back on the highway. It only proves its worth once the ground gets genuinely loose and difficult. On most trucks, most weeks, that moment never comes. Number 3, the daily driver advantage. On pavement, the difference shows up fast. The all-terrain disappears into the background. Steady in traffic, predictable in the rain, quiet at highway speed. The mud terrain's oversized blocks, the exact feature that claws through loose ground, work against it here. More tread movement, more cabin noise, more of what you feel through the wheel on every single commute. Part of that comes down to simple physics. Big open voids mean air gets pumped in and out of the tread with every rotation, and that pumping is where a lot of the noise actually comes from. It's not a defect. It's the same design that clears mud, just showing up in a place you didn't ask for it. Wet pavement follows the same pattern. Sipes create biting edges, channels manage water, and the less aggressive tread usually holds the edge, though this varies enough tire to tire that the category alone won't tell you everything. Picture the truck coming off a dry gravel road straight into a downpour. That's exactly the moment the gap shows up. Winter adds one more wrinkle. Some tires in both categories carry a severe snow rating, some don't, and that certification matters more than the all-terrain versus mud terrain label ever will. A mud terrain without it can be surprisingly nervous on packed snow. All that open void does nothing for you on ice. Number 4, the hidden cost. There's a cost that never shows up on the tread pattern: energy. A heavier tire with deeper tread and stiffer sidewalls takes more work to keep rolling. more rolling resistance, more load on the engine just to hold highway speed. Over thousands of commuting miles, that adds up. One more bill for capability most trucks never use. Tread life warranties tell a version of the same story. All-terrains regularly carry 50,000 to 65,000 mile warranties from major brands. Mud terrains often carry none at all, not because the tire is poorly made, but because the manufacturer knows exactly what kind of driving buys that tire. And it isn't gentle commuting. Run the $26 gap out over that mileage difference, and the math gets uncomfortable fast. A tire that costs more up front and wears out sooner isn't just a bad deal once. It's a bad deal every time you replace the set, for as long as you own the truck, which is the real theme so far. The mud terrain isn't a worse tire. It's a specialist wearing a commuter's schedule. Number 5. Where the mud terrain wins. Deep mud is where the argument flips. Those massive voids aren't for looks. They clear soft material and keep finding grip instead of packing solid and losing bite. On sharp rock, uneven ledges, and low-pressure crawling, sidewall strength and flex matter more than quiet manners ever will. A stiffer, reinforced sidewall resists cuts and punctures that would sideline a pavement-tuned tire, and a flexible air-down zone lets the tread conform to whatever the rock throws at it. This is the exact environment the mud terrain's construction is built for, and no amount of marketing changes the physics of it. This is one place where the aggressive tire genuinely earns its reputation. One trip a year is a hobby. Every weekend is a job description. The gap between those two decides whether the $26 extra and everything that comes with them are worth paying. Number 6. Towing changes the math a little. An F-150 spends a lot of its life pulling something, and towing doesn't split neatly along the all-terrain versus mud-terrain line. What actually matters for towing is load range. The E-rated tires common on both categories are built with reinforced sidewalls to carry the weight, and how much sidewall flex the tire allows under that load. A heavier mud-terrain carcass can feel more planted towing on rough gravel roads to a job site where the extra sidewall stiffness resists squirm under a loaded trailer hitch. On the highway pulling a trailer, the all-terrain's lower rolling resistance and steadier tracking usually win out. Less drag means less strain on the transmission and the fuel bill, and a denser tread pattern tracks straighter at highway speed with a trailer pushing and pulling behind it. A worn tire makes this worse regardless of category. Reduced tread depth means reduced water evacuation and reduced margin under a loaded trailer. Match the tire to the terrain you're towing across, not just the terrain you occasionally explore without a trailer behind you. A truck that tows for a living and off-roads on weekends is a different assignment than either one alone. Number 7. The hidden mud terrain problem. The same tread that digs through mud turns into a tax back on pavement. More noise, less refinement. A tire built for one job working a shift it wasn't hired for 5 days a week. That's a mismatch, not a flaw. Put a trail tool on a commute and you're paying for a skill you rarely use. Number 8. Side by side, surface by surface. Highway, all-terrain, clearly on comfort and noise. Light gravel, both handle it without drama. Wet pavement, all-terrain usually holds the edge. Individual tires vary more than the category label admits, so read the specific tire's rating before assuming. Snow comes down to the specific compound and winter certification, not A/T versus M/T as categories. Deep mud, loose ground, technical rock. Mud terrain moves into territory the all-terrain was never built for. Fuel economy favors the lighter, lower resistance tire, usually the all-terrain. Tread life follows no simple category rule, though the denser all-terrain pattern generally has the durability edge. Resale and trade-in value follow a similar logic. A set of worn mud terrains on a truck that clearly never left pavement can actually work against you, signaling neglect rather than capability to a buyer who knows what they're looking at. The scorecard was never which tire is better. It's which tire keeps giving you an advantage on the roads you actually drive. None of that changes with maintenance either. Rotation schedule, alignment, and tire pressure affect both categories the same way. Skip that upkeep and the $26 decision stops mattering. Neither tire survives neglect.